In today's video, we're going to learn how to use rulers, guides, and grids in Adobe Illustrator. Now, like discussed in class, rulers and guides allow you to align things in documents, and the good thing about guides and rulers and grids is that they don't actually print. They are actually invisible, but you can use them to align things to make sure everything looks nice and neat in your document. So in this document here, we have a front and back of a business card. Now, if you'll notice, down here, there's a few little things that are off. This line of type is off and it's not aligned with everything else, as is this line of type. Now, in order to ensure that everything is lined up the way it should be, we're going to rely on rulers. There's two ways to access rulers in Illustrator. One is through your View menu, which is where you see all of your guides, grids, and rulers. I can go to View, click on Rulers, and hit Show Rulers. And if you notice, now I have the rulers on the top here and on the left. I can also use the Command R to hide them or access them as well. Command R is your quick key for this. Now, once I have the rulers, if I right click on a ruler, I can change the unit of measurement I'm working with. In this class, we will mostly rely on inches, but let's say we ever need to switch, it's a quick way of converting it. You can also see the size of your document. It's about 4 inches wide and 4 inches long. In order to make guides in Illustrator, is as simple as clicking on the ruler and dragging with your mouse. When I do that, you're going to see a line form as soon as I release my mouse. This is a guide. Now, guides are movable. So let's say I want to set up a guide at the edge of this business card. I can do so. I want to click and drag from my ruler, and I can set up another one here. I can put hundreds of guides, which I don't suggest, but there's no limit to the amount of guides you can use. Now, this is for horizontal guides. In order to create vertical guides, I'm going to go to this side of my ruler and click and drag from the left panel ruler. And now I can create vertical guides. Now, I can add as many as I want. Let's say I mess up. I'm going to try to put a guide down here. I'm actually also going to zoom in a bit, hitting Command plus. I want to put a guide here so I can see where these 3 lines of type are supposed to line up for my address. And I can see that the one that says Lorem Main Street is way off. But I didn't get close enough, so I'm going to pull this closer. Good thing about guides is that they are movable. I'm just using this black arrow here, which is your selection tool, to move my guide slightly over. Now when I click on this object, I can move it with my arrow key or even with my mouse, just clicking and dragging, so that it's more lined up. I'm going to do the same thing for this section here. I'm going to click and drag and make another guideline so that it's butted underneath these words, and so that I can grab image editing and make sure it's aligned properly. Now, let's say all these blue lines are kind of getting in my way. They're becoming like a distraction to my design. I can hide them by going to View, Guides, Hide Guides. I can lock my guides so that they're not movable in case I move them by accident. And I can also clear all my guides, which is nice. So I'm going to leave that for now, but you have all of these options here. You also have an option in the same menu called Show Grid. A grid is a whole bunch of guidelines that Illustrator places that are evenly spaced apart in your document. I think it's a little cluttered, but if you ever needed to break up a document evenly this way, it's a quick way of doing so. And if I want to get rid of it, I can go back up to View and click Hide Grid. Now, the last thing I want to discuss is what happens when you work on a document that has a lot of blue like this one. It can become a little hard to see these lines, blue on blue, so I can change the color of my guidelines. And to do so, I have to go up to my Illustrator menu, click Preferences, and go down to Guides and Grid. When I do that, I have these options here, and you'll see that I have an option to change the color. So let's say I want the guidelines to be black. All I have to do is press OK. And now all my guidelines have changed to black, and it allows me to see it a lot clearer. It's just a visual preference. And if I want to go back, it's always under Preferences, and I can swap it back. Now for the activity for today, I'm going to give you a document that looks very similar to this, but it's a little messy. Things are off of their guides and everything needs to be aligned correctly. So you're going to use your guides and your rulers in order to set up the document so that everything is aligned according to the after image.